Hey guys, welcome back to another commentary from a D-list black belt. This is take 2 for the Gordon Ryan vs Andre Galvao super fight. I'm just gonna quickly make sure, yep, I have the right audio, so that's good then. The last one apparently recorded without sound, and that made me sad, because that was like a couple of hours worth of work. As a fair bit of effort to get that out. But that's okay. So firstly, guys, I'm sorry that I haven't posted for a couple of weeks. Again, after the last one kind of went south, I had a couple of competitions, and so I was focusing on that, and then I just didn't have the time or the energy to do another video. But we're here today, and we're going to get back into it. Secondly, thank you guys so much for 81 subscribers now. So we're 19 off 100, which would be really cool to get to. So if you're enjoying the content, like, share, subscribe, all the rest of it. It makes me feel like a YouTuber, and then hopefully we can grow the community. My ADD's run away with me, and I have like big ideas about community events and things like that if we manage to grow it to that. But that's okay. We'll get there when we get there. Anyway, take 2. Off we go. Let me just make sure that's muted, and then we'll start. So Galvao comes out super intense, like slapping Gordon in the head. The ref stops him. Gordon's got a wee smirk on at the moment. You see it. Because obviously this whole match started with Gordon Ryan slapping Galvao. And so Galvao's coming out super intense, but you see that Gordon Ryan just really relaxed. You see how there's a huge difference between that little exchange that we just saw there. Let's watch that again. The last 5 seconds or so. Like, look at how energetic Galvao's being versus Gordon, and you see how Gordon's like kind of slow in his movements, whereas Galvao's quite twitchy and quite energetic and strong. I've said this in the last video, but obviously no sound. Even something like this is a mistake for Galvao, especially against someone of the caliber of Gordon. The reason being is that you're already burning more juice than he is, and there's no need for it, really. There's no need for it at all. And Gordon's happy on the bottom, he's happy on the top. It doesn't matter where he ends up, and he's happy to do the wrestling. He obviously wants to get on top eventually, but he's not stressed by being on the bottom because he's so confident in his ability for leg entanglements and shifting weight and weight distribution and so on and so forth, etc., etc., etc. So because he's not stressed, he gets to just kind of relax and be kind of a sloth. So you saw him, he got his head pulled down, and he was like, and he's kind of super floaty, whereas Galvao is being hyper twitchy, and then he kind of is burning this energy here. And already that's going to be a bit of an issue. He tries for the arm drag, and he's trying to be like hyper aggressive and end it quickly, but it just won't happen, Yeah, exactly. And so, that style that Gordon was pulling, where he's kind of just being relaxed, and we'll watch that brief exchange again. Gordon knows that the grappling, you grab each other, so you're grappling, you have to grab each other eventually. And Gordon knows this, so he just walks forwards and basically goes, all right, let's advance the match. I'll just walk into you. And he was kind of caught off guard by that tackle because he's just relaxed. And if he was super intense and into it and all the rest of it, he would be twitchy like Galvao, but he's not, and he's conserving his energy for later in the match when he needs it, and it will tell later in the match when he needs it. And so the crowd goes wild. That was a really good double leg entry, but in my mind, Gordon gave that to him, because now Gordon's on the floor, and Galvao has to engage, that sort of thing. Very good. So what happened there? What happened there was effectively an idiot sweep. So Gordon's using both feet, hooking in behind the legs on the inside. And he's like pushing either way. And that makes Galvao's feet go sideways. Then, because Galvao has to come low, spread the base wide, Gordon's given a chance to loop with his hands. And then, because he's got shin to shin, he can immediately start lifting into like a single leg X, which is what he wants. And so he's just like sits up, dives in, and immediately scoops and goes. And you can see that now Galvao's on the defensive, obviously. And this is what Gordon Ryan does really well, is that he's just very proactive with the style of jiu-jitsu. And it's very hard because what happens is, if you've got someone that's proactive, it's difficult to be proactive against them unless they're making glaringly obvious mistakes that you can take advantage of. Problem with Gordon Ryan is he doesn't make mistakes. Well, he does, obviously, but at the moment there's no one that can exploit them. And so if you got someone that's not leaving openings or mistakes, or the windows of opportunities leaving, rather, is a better way to put that, are very low, then you're going to have a hard time engaging with it on a time limit, especially if he's really confident in engaging with you, which is what we saw happening here. And now all of a sudden Galvao's trying to stop this and pull it to the outside, but Gordon's like proper in deep on this fight now. Now he's going for the heel hook. This is exactly what happened with Nicky Rod. And Nicky Rod, the heel is on the outside. Nicky Rod made the mistake, I can't remember exactly, but I believe that he was basically forced to come down and then try and rotate around the top with his hip around the top. And that's what led to the leg entanglement. Galvao's a bit too experienced for this, and he pushes the foot down, and then starts backstepping. So now I'm just on the last thought, but there was more beautiful jiu-jitsu going on. Because he was pushing the leg down, he has the chance to backstep, like what he was saying. But Gordon switched the legs over, as we saw. So he goes for it again. He goes for this heel hook, and now Galvao's trying to wrench out. He'll sit down and he'll start rotating around. So this is the fight that I remember rather than the Nicky Rod fight. And now, because he manages to brace on the foot, there's more space in on the knee, which means that the heel hook is not as effective because the torque isn't, like, there's nothing stopping this hip from moving with the heel moving. And now he backsteps off the top of Gordon's leg. Because of this, what he's trying to do now is he's trying to rotate around the top, and if he manages to get this foot to the floor, followed by the knee to the floor, he'll be able to use the hand cross-face, get an underhook with the other hand, because you got to remember that his whole body will rotate, so that his head will be up here, his body will be down like this foot will be in, and his knee will be like that, so this hand will be over this side, and this hand will be over this side, and then this knee will still be through the gap like that, and so it'll be quite awkward now. I don't know if this diagram makes sense, but that's where he'll end up, and his foot will be like this, and his foot will be like this, and then this is his knee, that's his knee, and his hips are in here somewhere. And then all of a sudden, it's a difficult position, especially if Galvao managed to get the underhook. So that's what he's trying for. Gordon, however, shrimps and switches the angle. And now this is very difficult. And now Galvao is working on jamming down so that he can pull the leg out, and now the heel hook's gone. And Gordon just lets it go because he knows it. So he sits up again, trying to engage. Yeah, nice. And so I spoke about this type of guard with Gordon in the Nicky Rod fight, but he's so disconnected, seemingly, with his feet. Look where his knees are in relation to his body, you know. But he's closing down the space by sitting up and forwards. And so this space in here remains closed. And because he's leant the other side, he's leant away, he can protect the other side with the hand on the inside. So he can effectively afford to start reaching out with his legs, hooking onto the knees and so on and so forth. Which is very difficult because his leg is longer than Galvao's arm, and Galvao needs to post on his legs, so that effectively he has to allow hooks if he wants to engage at all. And this is what I was talking about before when I said it's very hard to engage with someone that's not leaving windows of opportunity just to blitz around the side, that sort of thing. And you can see that what he did there was he hooked on the outside and then used his hand to hook. And now he's trying to drop the knee in to the inside space and all the rest of it. And now this is all of a sudden a very dangerous position for Galvao, because he's not close to a pass here, you know. And Gordon's very close to starting to look to get into the leg entanglements again. So Galvao kicks out of it and comes back center, which is seemingly oxymoronic compared to, you know, well, you want to get around the side to pass the side control, but there wasn't really an opportunity there. You see how Gordon's really good at just going side to side, and now he latches on to the leg and pulls himself in. And now he's using his legs to pull himself in. Galvao's on the back foot again, and now they stabilize somewhat. And now Gordon's back into single leg X position, because he's so very, very good at this engagement and then reaching for the far side leg and just bringing both feet to the opposite side. In my mind, what Galvao should be doing here is actually going to knees into a half guard and then crossing his ankles. So bringing ankle A backwards to cross over ankle B. And then this makes it very difficult for Gordon to A, get underneath, and B, start attacking the opposite leg. But obviously easier said than done, and with how connected this is, that might not actually be an option. But really, you don't want to allow the other person underneath you, especially not this leg in this knee cutty type position if you're Galvao. So at the very least, he should be trying to step his leg back around the corner. And so this is one of the first mistakes from Galvao. And I think it just comes down to like, Gordon, I'm just trying to think how to say this. When you train to train sometimes. Now, hear me out in that sense. I know it sounds dumb, but Gordon trains to win, right? So you're all mates at the gym. You don't want to be too cunty with your mate by smashing his soul out of his body with your knee and knee on belly and all the rest of it. And obviously everyone wants to win, but there's kind of sometimes an air of respect where you're not necessarily going for what you could go for, even though you are going for what you could go for, but it happens just slower. What we saw here is Gordon goes, all right, there's an opportunity, I'm just going for it. There's an opportunity, I'm just going for it. Whereas maybe what happens with Galvao's gym is that he's able just to sit there and play the position a little bit longer. Gordon don't give a fuck about that. He just going, no, I'm going for it. I want to win. Winning's fun for me. Sorry. And so he just latches on and starts working. And that's what I mean when I say being proactive. He's just hyper proactive with what he's doing. And when people are training, maybe they're not as proactive as they should be because they want to play the position and be mates with their training partner. But I don't think Gordon has that problem. He's mates with them after training. Training is training, you know. And this is how you win. And so what happens is he manages to scoop the bottom leg underneath. He's very flexible. And then he's going to pull forwards with his hands and then get the other leg into the fight that Galvao's currently controlling. And now Galvao tried to wrench out of it, but that was not necessarily the right thing to do. And now he's just trying to control the leg and push it sideways so that Gordon can't get the triangle lock, and then drop and rotate to expose the heel again. So now Galvao's having to carry all of his weight, all of Gordon's weight on his leg, as well as all of his weight on one leg, basically, hopping. He manages to wrench out of it because he makes enough space, but again, that's burning a lot of juice. And you can see in that little interaction, look at Galvao's breathing versus Gordon's. Gordon doesn't look like he's stressed at all. Doesn't look like he's even sweating yet, you know. Whereas Galvao's heaving. And you can see it, like his belly is like heaving and went out here and then came back in and all the rest of it. Whereas Gordon's like, whatever. And then again, the same thing. He's being very proactive, and I think Galvao's just not sure how to approach... Oh, sorry, wrong one. How to approach the guard. So Gordon's going, whatever, I'll just do it again. It's fine. Whereas Galvao's trying to look for the opening, and then Gordon, because he's so long, gets to latch in and then immediately start hunting, and then it's very, very difficult. And now Galvao's forced to play. And again, I actually remember when I was a itty bitty purple belt, actually, I saw one of Galvao's instructional videos and I really liked it. And I think it was the over-under pass video, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend that video very highly. Is look up Galvao over-under pass. And in that video, he says, I don't understand why people try and pass on their feet, especially against butterfly guard. Drop to your knees, and you'll have more joy with it. And I just can't help but feel like he's forgotten his own advice here, and he should follow it. If he drops to his knees on either side and gets his head lower than Gordon's, all of a sudden Gordon can't get in underneath all of this space that Galvao's providing by staying up on his feet. It's harder to lift. Galvao can start fighting for the inside space, head on the inside, and then you can start dominating the match with over-under or Khabib-style smash pass where you like leg laces and all the rest of it, or start working towards it, I should say. But I just don't understand why he's necessarily staying on his feet. It's clearly not working, so try something else. And of course, again, it's always easier for no-name cheaters like me to critique from the sidelines of what should have been done about the top guys, but then it is to, be in the middle of the match and fighting literally for your legacy. But still, I really feel like what should have happened is they should have studied what Gordon did and then thought about it. And again, I'm a no-name shitter, and I came up with this inside of 30 seconds. Like, drop to your knees and then stay lower than your partner. Watch out for guillotines and so on and so forth, but then you can start stepping a knee up to the outside to pressure across and or just play the position that's much more difficult for Gordon to start feeding into his game of lifting you and attacking to a leg. And you don't want to be playing Gordon's game, you want to be playing your game. Or, if you can't play your game, you want to stop Gordon from playing his game. And then he drops to his knees too late, He tries it, but he drops to his knees too late. What I would have liked to have seen is like here, dropping to your knees and dropping to your knees to the floor and then getting low and all the rest of it. But now you can see that because he didn't do that, Gordon gets underneath him and starts lifting him. Now, I really like this detail here. This detail is very beautiful. So we're going to go into the actual jiu-jitsu analysis part rather than the theory part. Again, Gordon, this whole scrambled egg mess is very difficult to decipher. But let me draw it out for you. That's Galvao's knee. This is Gordon's arm. And his arm looks the same fucking size as Galvao's leg to me. It's huge. This is Gordon's leg. As I said, this is Galvao's leg. Galvao's other leg is here. This is Gordon's leg. Currently, Gordon looks like this. Like so. What's happening with this is that Gordon's shuffled himself underneath. So we're going to rewatch it and then we're going to come back into it. He hooks, grabs, pulls the head. So Galvao starts coming forwards. Pulling Galvao on top as he's pulling himself underneath. And so we get into this position. He then transitions to this grip here. What that grip does is it does two things. Firstly, it makes it very difficult for Galvao to start posting back on that hand and start retreating his body. Secondly, now you see this positioning with the elbow. High elbow, tall. It's rotated outwards, not in. Okay? What that does is it makes it near impossible for Galvao to start using this hand for anything more than a base. He can't bring it in to start cross-facing, and if he does, he's just going to get traveled over the top and Gordon's going to get further underneath him. And so this hand placement here is pristine. It's just so good. So good. And with the hand, this is Galvao's leg, I'm pretty sure. That's Gordon's leg in here. This is Galvao's leg here. You see how off balance Galvao is. And now Gordon will watch what happens, but this hand placement is what sets up the rest of the technique. And you can see that Galvao tried to do like a little cartwheel pass over the top, but now Gordon's so far underneath the technique, and so that was pretty much the only thing that Galvao could actually do is post off of his right hand there and then just jump over the top. Now that makes it very difficult for Galvao because again Gordon's funneling him into his own game, which is leg entanglements to wrestle up to, like if he can finish the heel hook, great, but leg entanglement, heel hook attempt to wrestle up to back take to finish from back. That's his whole game plan, or finish from mount, it doesn't matter. And now, what happens here, we'll come back to the analysis part, is that because of that hand placement, it allowed Gordon to secure himself underneath Galvao. It allowed him to follow and secure like a super tight connection with his entire body. And now you can see that he's threatening a sweep because Galvao has to stand up to come away, but he's so committed now. So Gordon grabs the leg with the hand that was posting underneath the armpit, but he's attached to the other leg. So now he's sitting up and threatening. So Galvao's forced to like turn this knee in and try and run away. That type of thing. But because Gordon's so connected, he just gets dragged with him. All of this, like, who the fuck has the core strength to do like an ab roll up onto a single knee at this angle? Maybe, but I very much doubt that was Gordon. I think that it was just him holding on and getting ragged by Galvao's effort. And then he comes up because Galvao gave him the momentum to come up. And now he's in takedown territory. And all of that was set up back here because Galvao didn't drop to his knees to engage. He allowed this foot on the hook, allowed this hand in here, and he allowed the right hand behind the armpit. Yeah, and it's just a beautiful sequence. And now this is where Gordon uses his effort, and if you remember me chatting about where to use your effort, Galvao just came out strong, and he came out really agitated, and Gordon was conservative. Gordon's been conservative this entire time, using the bare minimum effort required at any given moment in time. Galvao has not done that. So now Galvao is more tired, and it's like rolling with a pseudo-fresh Gordon when you're 5 rolls in. It's hard, And that's how Gordon's going to win this match. And now he gets on Galvao's back, and it's just his classic takedown, where it's just like you can see his leg come in for this foot sweep, and he just his arms are like this, and he just tips and rotates, that type of thing. Galvao does a really good job of trying to rotate out of it. And he tries to get the sticky hook in. Gordon's already ready for it, and he's like lifting and coming around the side, and now he threatens the guillotine as well. And then Galvao's trying to like use the sticky hook to lift, and you can see how he like bumped Gordon, trying to pull the arm down for another sweep, but Gordon's just too good at this, good for this, and he just backs out. His head comes loose, and then Galvao doesn't get it. You can also see he's using his head as a post, and then Gordon went super wide. Yeah, he's just using his head as a post, connecting himself to him, and then he's going to put his hand out to stabilize in a second. And now, because Galvao's hips aren't underneath his hips, it's very difficult to finish this sweep. And then he retreats back into the guard, and then does pretty well exactly what I said Galvao should do, which is be on the knees and then flatten the other person out, so it's hard to get underneath them. And you can see Galvao heaving. Gordon's only just tired. So Gordon's as tired now, roughly, as Galvao was when I first said, hey, look at their breathing. Now we see this where Galvao's trying to lift Gordon from side to side. But Gordon's just so fucking good at heavy pressure. I'm going to float side to side with you. If you want to sweep me, you have to do the work for me. I'm not just going to lift and try and move. And so Galvao's kind of like taking dead weight a little bit. Whereas Gordon's still being active. Don't get me wrong. Gordon's still being active with his legs and all the rest of it, but he's allowing himself to be taken for a ride. Rather than fighting every single motion, he goes, okay, well, I'll pressure down this way. And that's what he started to do. And he would be very heavy down. And then he's starting to connect. He's starting to try and shove this hand this way to get it off the shoulder so he can rotate the hips in. Galvao knows this, so he goes, no, I'll go this side. So Gordon goes, okay, drops his shoulders down, and now he's like floppy dead weight as he's trying to hook in, so he stays active. Staying active with his hands and with his legs. But he's like, on top right now. And then bases and tucks everything back in because he doesn't need to do more than that. And then gets shifted to the other side. But now watch this. This grip here is another fucking gorgeous grip. This grip here shuts down pretty well every single leg entanglement. Now you might say, well, why? Because the foot needs to come to the inside. And if this foot gets underneath this knee, then it's over. But the problem is that what this does is it makes it very hard for Galvao to start moving his leg without allowing pressure down. on his leg. So like it's very difficult to start shifting your hips, shifting Gordon around, so on and so forth, without allowing Gordon to have leverage to push your leg down. And I think we see that later on. So Gordon stands up, trying to sort this out. Galvao off balances him again. And you can see that Gordon was setting this hand up for the defense, and it was still like hanging loose, but now he's come up to the top to try and push it down because there's a lot of space here. There's a lot of space here. It's not as clean as what Gordon was doing. So now Gordon's trying to push the leg off. Galvao goes back on it. He tries to push the leg off, standard defense. Very standard defense is trying to push this leg off the top, but Galvao lifts his hips and like drags the heel down, which sits Gordon backwards. Yeah. And I believe that with his other hand, he might be scooped underneath the leg. You know, rather than hooking over the top, he might be scooped under. And pushes. Galvao. Oh, he's not scooped under, sorry. He's just holding onto the ankle. Galvao pushes him away to get this leverage. But again, Gordon's not stressed by this because he's set up the defense. So the idea with this is that Galvao wants to be pushing the leg across so that he can follow with the leg and then get leg entanglements, like a saddle position type thing where this foot goes on the inside of the knee to the backside, and then this leg will be isolated for Gordon, and then the heel will be exposed and hopefully the match will be over. So Galvao's trying to lift it to the opposite side, but Gordon doesn't really care. Like, he does, he's weary, he's in danger, but he's comfortable, you know, and he knows what he's doing, and he can judge the situation well. And what will be going through his mind is, I have to be careful of this, but I'm pretty confident I know how to deal with this. Now, this arm, he resets it, and you'll see why in a second. Now the grip fight goes on. The heel comes to this side. Galvao tries to regain control over it, so that he can start looking to control. But you see why Gordon set this up? It's because it allowed him to pull to create space for his knee to come back through. So he's pushing, as he's like pulling up, he's pushing forwards, as he's pulling himself back, as he's bracing. And it's very difficult now for Galvao to follow this. This position's lost because Gordon got his knee through. And that wouldn't be possible if Gordon allowed the space of this knee to be shut down. So he opens up the space, and then prevents the leg from coming over the top, basically, now, because the leg's on his hip, not in front of his belly. And so now he's very comfortable with standing up and driving forward, because there's not much that can be done for the knee bar or heel hook. And now all of a sudden he's out. And it looked like there he was actually controlling both feet with the one hand. So it makes it doubly difficult for Galvao to start moving. And Galvao tries to knee bar, go inverted, and he just ends up with a big old fucking hairy gorilla knee in his face. You know, well, it's not really hairy, he probably shaves, but because this control, and I can't harp on about it enough, is preventing this foot from going underneath to get the leg entanglements, to continue the inversion, to get the knee bar, to get the heel hook, etc., etc., etc. This control is preventing all of that. Gordon can just come in and start pressuring, and then if Galvao rocks forwards and tries to kick long, he'll just let go. Gordon will just let go and then go, all right, I'll take a side control. No worries, thank you very much. So Galvao comes back and tries to get the guard. And now Gordon's out of it and he's into his favorite passing position. Awesome. So what I might do, guys, is I might break this down into a 3-parter. Because A, if the first video goes wrong, then I want to know about it. And B, like I've had some feedback that like an hour-long video is quite difficult to sit through, especially if I'm an unknown nobody. Which is fair enough. It's fair enough. And then there's a little bit more content for you guys to enjoy, and it's just a bit easier, and then it's a bit easier to digest. So this is where I'm going to end the first part of this video with Gordon driving in and then controlling both ankles, and now Gordon's on top, and we're going to get into the next part of the top game, and then the last part will be the back attack. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your support. If you're liking what you're seeing, guys, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. Let me know. It makes me feel good. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It makes me feel like a YouTuber when I see my little numbers go up. It makes my happy juice flow. And I like making this content for me, but I like the idea of sharing it with all of you. And then I want to get to a point where I can maybe have like social interactions on Twitch or something like that with you guys. And then yeah, it would just be cool to grow a wee community where you guys are chatting with me, sharing your ideas, and so on and so forth. So guys, I need your help. Please like, subscribe, share, and all the rest of it. Tell your friends and your grandma to subscribe, and then help me grow the channel. And then I will see you all in the next one. Thank you guys. Have a good day.